Well, loves, today marks a very special day for me personally. Today is my birthday. I officially turn 25. Wow, I really am getting on up there, huh? To celebrate my big day today, I decided to make a different video for the channel. A more special video. In this video, I will be sharing with you all my life growing up with Thomas and friends and how yours truly became a fan. I know other friends have shared their backstories throughout the fandom, so today on my birthday, I would also like to share mine. I am very excited to share this with you guys, as I feel it'll be quite fun to run back on my history involving Thomas and review on how this little blue rascal basically changed my life, really. He's been alongside me for goodness knows how many years now, and I wanted to pay tribute to that for this special occasion of mine. For now at 25, I learned quite a lot with being a Thomas fan, which I will get further into towards the end. But for now, I would like to tell you all a tale on how me and Thomas first became friends, if you will. This is quite the interesting story featuring things that either you guys already know about or is obviously completely new to you. However, I will talk about things in order as they happened. Like all stories, we'll start at the beginning. So, let's get into it. It all started circa 2003 or so. Of course, being the age of around 1 or 2, I was too young to remember. So my mom says that the story goes that one day she and my grandmother were doing some shopping at the store. As I said, I was only around 1 or 2, being pushed around in the baby seat of the cart. Once we were done shopping, we stood in the line at the checkout. My mom said that I saw a Thomas VHS on a shelf somewhere and started to smile and giggle at it. She began to walk forward away from it as the line went on, and that's when I started crying and reaching for it. I wouldn't stop crying until they brought it for me. She finally then surrendered and purchased it, and I stopped crying. I watched it later that day at home. It was that day that my love for Thomas was officially born. Since then, in the early 2000s, my mom and grandma brought more Thomas VHS tapes. I would watch these tapes in my grandparents' bedroom, sometimes all day up until evening, and sometimes either my grandma or both my grandparents would watch a tape with me at night before bed. Most of the VHS tapes I had at the time were the best of releases and season 6 releases like James and the Red Balloon or Percy's Chocolate Crunch. As I said, this was around 2003, so most of the season 6 tapes were new at the time. Over time, we were soon buying the season 8 and season 9 VHS tapes and DVDs, which made my appreciation for Thomas grow more and more. Some include Steamies vs. Diesels, Songs of Sodor, It's Great to Be an Engine, Tales from the Tracks, and Thomas's Sodor Celebration. As you can see from these pictures, the covers on some of these tapes have been through a lot through the years. But hey, that's the beauty of old physical media. I would constantly watch these tapes over and over again, either after preschool or on weekends. It was around this point that my grandmother also started to buy me my Thomas Wooden Railway toys. I started playing with them as a kid, running them on the floor, on tables, on my grandparents' bed, etc. It's safe to say that I was now fully locked in with Thomas and Friends. Soon the tapes turned into buying new DVDs. My first DVD was Percy Saves the Day, as my VHS copy was lost when my mother and I moved into my childhood apartment. Seeing how sad I was that I couldn't find it, she brought a DVD off the internet to cheer me up. The early days of shopping online. It took forever for that DVD to arrive, though. Going back and forth between my grandparents' house and my mom's apartment, I kept all my Thomas material at my grandparents' house. I also had other merch as well, like flashcards, books, and even a blanket. The blanket was kept at my mom's apartment. Man, we loved that old blanket. Me, my mom, and even visitors we had like her boyfriend, his teenage kids, and visiting cousins would snuggle the crap out of that thing in our living room couch. Unfortunately, however, it is now long lost. R.I.P. Thomas Blanket. Around me, my family supported my love for Thomas during my kid years. I still remember how my mom would sing and whistle to the Thomas anthem either with me or as she walked around the house. And me, her, and my grandmother would often laugh as we recall episodes of the engines roasting each other or getting into accidents. They would joke and call them bad trains because of the mischief they sometimes got into, especially Gordon. My mom would laugh and say, "Gordon is bad as hell," like he was a mischievous little kid or something. And believe it or not, it would turn out he actually was. As my adolescent life went on, Thomas stayed pretty constant with me. I would buy new DVDs that came out and kept up with the show as it went into its CGI era. I remember how absolutely hype I was when Hero of the Rails dropped and the engines were not only fully animated, but now no longer had the narrator to do their voices. It excited little 8-year-old me how distinct everyone sounded. Like, I low-key still remember hearing Emily speak in that opening scene of Spencer rushing past and shouting, "She's got a girl voice!" Reminder, I was already hyped enough seeing the faces talk and move with my season 12 DVD high-speed adventures, so seeing this had me in a chokehold. Throughout the 2010s, I continued buying Miller-era releases and watched them in, you guessed it, my grandparents' room. Seeing how I was little, the plots of these episodes obviously weren't cringy to me then as they are now. Like many other fans when it came out, I actually thought Misty Island Rescue was a pretty epic film. Yeah, crazy, right? Although I eventually would notice how samey the stories were as I kept watching. Things were smooth at first, but as the decade rolled in, however, things were assumed to change a little personally. Let's just say that around 2011, hard times began to hit the family. There wasn't a death or anything, but something happened where the details of which I'll keep discreet. It was during this downfall Day of the Diesels dropped, and the only way I saw it was a rental from Redbox. Thinking back, I don't think I was ever able to find it in store, which must mean that this movie sold like crazy. And yes, I remember thinking Day of the Diesels was too a badass film. It was during this dark period that Thomas became a comfort show to me more than ever. Watching episode or movie releases kept me smiling and positive despite what was happening in my life. Then one day, in the summer 2013, I got something cool. Well, more cool back then anyway. Internet. I was thrilled with this, as it meant that I could now watch and find Thomas-related stuff online. Season 17 was the first season that I watched on YouTube. I found it so surreal. Not to mention I was 12 that year, so it would come as no shock that I got really into surfing the web all day. The internet also introduced me to more episodes of the classic and hit seasons that I'd never seen before on home release, as well as the Railway series. Let me tell you, finding out about the Railway series was a complete mind-blowing moment for me. Binging the episodes, I never took much notice to the beginning nor end credits. So that moment right there was when I first discovered what the credit "based on the Railway series by the Reverend W. Awdry" meant, for I never knew before then that the show was based on an old book series. Michelangelo's narrations were up on YouTube and I watched them. I would watch these audiobooks all day, nearly every day, glancing at the illustrations. My mom would get very annoyed at me for watching Thomas content, but I still kept my chin up. 2013 was the year where I fell in love with the new age of Thomas and Friends Online, and soon after, I discovered the Thomas the Tank Engine Wikia. And if some of you who've known me for a while know where it's going from here, then y'all know exactly what happened next. Back in the day, the Wikia used to have a chat that you could visit. Most Wikias had them, and one day while on my old Facebook account, I decided to have the idea to log into the Wikia with this account and join. As soon as I joined, I was a bit nervous at first, but I soon warmed up to these other Thomas fans. This really excited me at the time though. Pre-internet, I felt a little down at times as I thought I was the only one at my age who still liked Thomas, so when I quickly saw online that I was not the only older Thomas fan, I grew very happy. So, wanting to fit in, I began brainstorming a new identity I could change my Wikia account into. At the time, as you all know, Duck was the most recent returnee to the show, and I'm reminiscing on how ecstatic I was that he was in episodes again after the last few seasons. So all of this hype surrounding him, and realizing how much of a great character he was in the older seasons, made him my favorite character. So, making my decision and considering the age I was turning at the time, I came up with the name DuckFan13, and changed my avatar to Duck. The fans in the chat really liked my new identity, and thus, DuckFan13 I stayed, for quite a long while. Before long, I discovered Twitter when it was mostly Twitter and not X, and I moved my Duck fan persona to there. To say that my appreciation for Duck was huge would be a bitter understatement. For some reason, being the hyper teen fangirl I was low-key obsessed with him. No matter the new returnees that came after him, he somehow stayed my favorite. Looking back, yes, it makes me cringe a little now, but it also makes me chuckle a little, concluding that it was just part of being a silly teenager. Plus, speaking in terms of young Duck fans in the fandom today, they're more hyped about him nowadays than I ever was. Throughout the next few years, I made more friends within the fandom. We all kept up and celebrated the franchise together with new movies, seasons, merch, etc. Any new topic coming out about the show, I was always involved with talking to other fans about. Meanwhile, outside of my real life, my grandmother and I would still hunt and buy the newest CGI DVD releases in stores. Things were going good revolving my love for Thomas again. Like, geez, I will never forget how lit all the hype around Lost Treasure, Season 20, and especially The Great Race was. The fandom was mostly a really fun place to be during those times. I miss those days. However, as my teen years pressed on, I found interest in other things. Things like, celebrity boys and teen crushes. The usual teenage girl's chick. It was around that phase that Journey Beyond Sodor had dropped in season 21, which I'm pretty sure y'all are aware how it received reception from the fandom and how it really affected it. Though there was still a lot of talk around it, just, different. Then the whole situation with Bubba and the fear of the show's future came around. Needless to say, at that point, I too was worried like other fans. Around the time that era came out, I, as well as some others, began to lose interest in the show. Plus, I was starting to become active in a new fandom at the time, and so I temporarily abandoned my Thomas persona and changed my name. I would end up leaving that other fandom due to drama and personal reasons. Fast forward later in 2021, during the age of the pandemic, and I began to remember my life as a Thomas fan. I secretly revisited the fandom again and saw that it was still going strong. Somewhat. All Engines Go was out and there was still some negative reception from the fandom to it, but at that time, Thomas fan content really started progressing more, whether through Train Simulator or fan filming with toys and models. Throughout the 2020s, I continued to discreetly keep up to date with the fandom and check out new oncoming fan material online and finding it all so creative and cool. Coming back to the fandom really sparked something in me, and it made me realize how much I missed all of it, and how much I missed celebrating my love for Thomas, which never disappeared after briefly leaving, by the way. Most of all, it inspired me to want to return. After a long while of some consideration, finally in October of 2024, I decided to make a new video on my Old Duck fan channel. As you can see, it was a video diving into comparing the Henry and the Tunnel remakes in the CGI series. And from there, I kept making videos and sharing them, eventually coming up with the new identity of Chew the Train Goddess, with Chew actually being derived from my mom's new nickname for me because she knows my love for Thomas and trains in general. Slowly, I've been getting involved back into the fandom again, meeting some old friends, making many new friends, and overall starting anew within the community, which, my friends, leads us to present day. Before I go any further, I would now like to take this time to remember my grandmother. Like I mentioned, my grandmother was a huge supporter for my love for Thomas, from watching tapes with me to us going out on DVD scavenger hunts. In some ways, she was really like an elderly Thomas fan alongside me. Her encouragement of me watching the show made my Thomas passion grow even stronger throughout time, and when I was down on my passion when it came to my older age, it was her that lifted my spirits up, telling me that I wasn't the only kid out here in the world who was still into Thomas, and I would later find out that she was right. She adored the show and my hobby of it. Sadly, in the start of 2020, my grandmother would fall ill and was hospitalized, and shortly after, in May that year, she passed away in her sleep. Her death hit me harder than anything. Even though she's now gone, my passion for the franchise has still kept thriving, and I have her to thank for me even getting into Thomas. She showed me that you're never too old to have certain interests. As long as you love what you love and keep doing what makes you happy, then the opinions of others don't matter. She never judged me nor ever tried to steer me out of it as I got older. As long as she saw that I was enjoying something that I wanted to enjoy, then she knew, deep down, that she had succeeded in showing me that it's okay to be myself. I owe her so much, and I wish I could tell her that. I love you, Graham. Now as an adult Thomas fan, I have learned and seen a lot throughout the years. Not only to remember to love your passion no matter what it may be, but I've also learned that said hobby can really help you grow in a way. Being a Thomas fan has taught me lots of lessons through the classic era stories and even hit era stories. Things like patience, kindness, putting others first, bravery, confidence, and humbleness. It also helped to teach me the basics of work ethic and jobs. The engines do work on a railway and they keep it running, and in return, it showed me that hard work and being really useful per se can motivate you to get things done, which as a result can help you move to the next steps in your life. That's where the productive atmosphere of Thomas has helped other older fans boost in careers, jobs, and even schools. For me personally, it helped me progress through school and eventually graduate. Today, as a grown-up, the characters, their stories of growth and determination, and their life journeys still help to keep me in that concentrated mindset as I push on through life. And even through hard times like now, being a Thomas fan has done good to comfort me through troubling times, keeping my spirits high, and just keep chugging, if you will, through daily life. The franchise has always reminded me that there is hope and to just keep myself busy and staying positive until good times eventually come again. On the creative side of things, the show, and by extension the fandom, have introduced me to the experience of the arts. Examples like storytelling, voice acting, art and model design, and overall having the ability to share your talents in creating with others like you. Without being an older Thomas fan, I never would have discovered how fun and engaging things like voiceover work is, where you can pretend to be a character to bring them to life. Not to mention writing stories that help you express what you're secretly and artistically good at. This topic especially centers deep within the Thomas community and, in the end, is what the fandom is really all about. Fans teaming and working together to make their own projects and media that are inspired by and follow the footsteps of the same show that they grew up admiring for years, and now can admire together. Yeah, there are times where the fans have their disagreements on certain things, but overall, they're a huge friend group that spread nothing but love and respect to each other. And all of that is what makes me so glad to have come across this community. Lots of things I've experienced as a longtime fan. But most of all, being a Thomas fan has made me learn that loving yourself by being yourself is the main thing that matters. And it's that one thing that makes life a happier and easier blessing to enjoy. I will always be thankful for discovering Thomas and Friends, as well as be blessed to be a fan. This little blue tank engine and all of his friends have stuck with me through thick and thin through the last 20 plus years and have taught me so much. Whenever I'm sad or feeling down, popping on an episode or anything related to him immediately heightens my spirits again. He brings me so much joy and has really helped me to grow into the confident woman I am today. Even today, Thomas still continues to create new young child fans like it has with me, either through the old model seasons or newest CGI seasons. And with the new show coming out, it's heartwarming to see that that's not stopping anytime soon. Throughout the decades, I've had so many memories. From singing the theme and watching the show with family, to excitedly buying new DVDs, to meeting many others like me to share my childhood with, I can definitely end it all here when I say Thomas and Friends was one of, if not the best thing to ever happen to me. So with that, I'd like to propose a toast. In honor of my birthday, here's to 20 plus years of my friendship with Thomas, and to more years of that friendship moving forward. Now, if y'all excuse me, I have a special day to celebrate. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and also thank you all for the huge support to me through the years, as well as this channel. I cannot stress enough how special each of you all are to me. I love you. Hope y'all have a good one, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.